everyone, welcome back to my channel, or if you are new, welcome. This is not the look that I'm going to be doing today. I went to edit my video and realized I completely forgot to do an intro, so here it is. I am doing something that I've done a couple times before. I do think I missed last season, but I'm going back to the same season of last year, so June, July, and August of 2024. I'm really searching all my videos to see what things were on repeat, what things I talked about a lot. I'm going to use them all again, and I'm going to see if I still love them. So I'm going to put together a look with all the things I couldn't stop talking about this time last year, and we shall see. So let's get started. The only thing I have done to my face so far is put on my corrector, and this hasn't changed since it launched, I don't know, maybe 2 years ago. This is the Dermatology Luminous Eye Corrector SPF 41. I use the shade medium, and this is a daily for me. Even when I'm not wearing makeup, I still have very dark circles that I like to correct. So I'll put some of this under it. I don't even have to set it with powder on days I'm not wearing makeup. It gives me a little bit of extra sun protection. I love it so much. It wears so well. What I did find to be a very recurring product when I was looking back at all of the videos in those 3 months was the Fenty Beauty Soft Lit Hydrating Foundation. In fact, it was, I believe, in my June beauty favorites. Maybe July, but I wore it all throughout those 3 months. I really like this foundation by itself, and that's how we're gonna use it today. But I also really like mixing it with the product. This is one of my favorite combinations of foundations. When I first got the product, I didn't love it by itself, like it wasn't my favorite. But once I mixed these two, it was just a match made in heaven. But I am gonna use it by itself today. I'm gonna use one pump. I am in the shade 210. And I have tried some other Fenty base products, and they are hit and miss for me. Clearly this one isn't. I really love it. I still love it. I still wear it a lot. And I love the stick foundation. I just wore that 2 days ago, I think. The drop, I think it's like the soft lit drops, or it's like in a kind of a geometrical type shape bottle. I did not like that. I don't love the matte version of this foundation, but because I love this one so much and I love the stick so much, I'm still gonna try things when the brand launches it. I don't know that they've launched a new complexion product since the stick. Maybe I'm wrong, but if and when they do, I will be trying it. I still have a little bit of that one pump left on my hand, so you don't need much at all. And it's just a solid medium coverage, super long wearing foundation. It does have clearly some luminosity to it. The product is more matte. That's kind of why I like mixing them together. But you'll see once this powder's down, it doesn't look too luminous or dewy. The concealer that I use the most is the G Beauty Brightening Concealer. I did my first G Beauty video in this time period. I think it was in June, where I reviewed 4 of their products, and this was one of them. I started out with the shade number 3, and then probably 9 months later, they sent me some products and they sent me number 5. So I've been mixing them lately. So that's number 3. And then number 5 is just a little bit like peachier, a little bit darker. So it helps further color correct while also making sure it's not too bright, because I just don't like a bright under eye on me personally. I had someone send me a DM on Instagram yesterday, day before yesterday, asking if I still liked this concealer, because they were thinking of purchasing it, and the day before that I had actually worn this. It is still what I would consider to be in my top 5 concealers. It just wears so nicely. It's hydrating without being too luminous. I don't like a luminous look under my eye either, but it doesn't make my under eyes more dry, but it doesn't crease and crack and cake up and all the bad C words we don't like under our eyes. Now, to set my under eyes during this time period, I have been using the Pat McGrath Skin Fetish Sublime Perfection Blurring Under Eye Powder. I still love this. I'm not currently using it. I'm currently using the Laura Mercier in the soft pink, but I do this. I go in stages, phases, where I like one thing, I'll stick to it for 6 months, and then I'll start using another thing again. So I go between these two and the Ilia Soft Focus Setting Powder. Those are like my 3 favorites for under the eye. But I was using this all the time, so I'll use it today. And I do still love this setting powder. The only thing I will say is that I don't recommend traveling with it. It is very fragile. So if you drop it or if it gets shaken in transit, it does have the tendency to break. The powder, RMS, hydrating loose setting powder. Looking at my label, because I always label my products as when I got them, I did get this in June of last year. Once I started using it, I really didn't stop for quite a while. I love this setting powder. I use the shade Light. It does come in different shades, and I do recommend trying to find the one that fits the most because it's not exactly translucent. But I think hydrating can be but I think the word hydrating can be a little misleading because this is not a luminous powder. It's not super matte though either. I still have a little bit of sheen left to my skin once I use this, but it does the job of setting very nicely. Looks good on the skin, and that's why I still continue to love it. For bronzer, I was hard pressed to find another bronzer in my makeup details for the entire 3 months, unless I was doing a full face of a brand or some kind of specific video where I needed to use another bronzer. I was using the YSL All Hours Hyper Bronze. You can see I have since hit pan on this. I still use it. I am in the shade number 2. This is a beautiful matte bronzer. Again, not too matte to where it totally flattens out your face. I really have to be in the mood for a luminous bronzer, especially on my forehead. I just don't like shininess on my forehead. And this gives just the right amount of color, just the right finish, easy to blend out. I have nothing bad to say about this bronzer. I was really into the Swede cream blushes during this time period, and that has not changed, as evidenced by how many times I have spoken about them since. I was using Sun Touch the most, and that's the one that has the most out of it. Just a really pretty neutral, peachy, lighter shade. I used Dollface yesterday. I've talked about this a ton as being one of my favorite pink blushes of all time. Fancy Face is one of my favorite scary blushes of all time, meaning I look at it and I think that's never gonna look good on my face, but it does. And then one that I don't know if I've shown on camera yet is Lucky, which is a little bit of a mix between Sun Touch and Dollface. So it is a peachy pink shade, and depending on what else I wear, it kind of pulls one or the other on my skin. So I think I'm gonna use this one today since I haven't, at least to my knowledge, used it on camera. And again, it's just no secret how much I love these blushes. They're buildable. For highlight, this was on repeat for highlight, the Gressa Eye Tint in Aureo, A-U-R-E-O. So clearly this is an eye tint, but I used it only as a highlight. I don't know that I ever, maybe I tried it once as an eye tint. The only thing with this, even though I still very much love it, is that it's very, I would apply it with my finger and just kind of tap it out. It's not easy to get into once you have hit a certain level without digging the product out with your fingernail, especially if you have nails. So I'm just gonna use my Rephr LC01 to kind of dig down in there and get some product and then just tap it on the skin. But this is still very, very, very pretty. Even if you didn't want to get this exact product, which probably you don't need if you have a ton of highlights, it just goes to show that it really is worth it to try eye products on the face and face products on the eyes, because you can very often find favorites, which this is still one of. So far, I still love everything that I loved this time last year. And now we're gonna go on to the eyes. This was my single shadow era. In fact, I posted that video during this time frame, and quite honestly, that has not changed in a year. I am still reaching for very small palettes or single shadow palettes or highlighters as eyeshadows or bronzers as eyeshadows. I'm just reaching for simplicity at its best. The shadow that came, if it came up once in my drop down, it came up at least 10 times, is the single from Chanel in Beige Sable, which is just this very gorgeous champagne shimmer shade. The eyeliner I'm gonna use came up a lot, and that was pretty much it. I would use this shade, I would buff out some eyeliner, and that's it. That's all I would use, and it just opened up the eyes so nicely. It's not too shimmery, so even if you feel like you have some texture on your eyelids, this is still gonna be something that's very flattering. And I would often not even put anything underneath my eyes as far as shadow. I don't know if I'm going to today, but I am gonna feature another one of my favorite singles since then, just to give a little bit of dimension in the crease, and this is Frappe Latte, which has shown up, Latte Frappe, which has shown up recently in a lot of my drop downs because it has found a home on my vanity and I tend to reach for it daily for just a very easy crease color that I can really manipulate the depth of. Like, it's not overly pigmented right when I use it, but I can also build it up, which is just, it's kind of the same with all of the Chanel single eyeshadows. And as far as this formula goes, I like it a lot more than the quad formulas from Chanel. I don't dislike that formula. I have a lot of favorite quads, but the single shadow formula far outperforms the quads in my opinion. And it was just a Chanel time of year for me because the Brune Agape eyeliner was the one that I tended to use the most, especially with this shadow. Just a real pretty bronzy brown eyeliner that I would often buff out with the beige sable. And I do think I'm gonna leave my under eyes bare today. So before we do mascara, I've gotta get something on these lips. Gloss. Gloss was the name of the game for this season of 2024. And I did vary my glosses a lot during these videos. I used the Beauty Counter Bare Shimmer a lot. It was my last one. It's one of my favorite glosses ever, but can't get it anymore. I used a Jillian Dempsey gloss a couple of times. And then of course, I used my City Lips quite often because it is my favorite gloss formula of all time. It's a little tiny bit sticky on me, but it lasts hours and hours and hours. And I don't know if I've used this one on YouTube camera. I think I did a reel with it and I got a lot of compliments on this color because I don't often wear color on my lips. But this is Coral Sunrise and it's just very summer appropriate, but I also think could be done in the fall and still look really good. My favorite is still Tokyo Kiss and Pink Nude. Nude Pink, Pink Nude. I can't remember. And for mascara, I was using a lot of Ilia, a lot of City Beauty, a lot of Milk Kush mascara, and I don't have any of those open. The only one that I found that I actually used during that time that I have open is the Chantecaille Longest Lash, so that's what I used today. And I'm also gonna go without mascara on the bottom lash line because I just feel like that's what I did during this time. This is not an old favorite saying if I still love it. This is a perfume that I wanted to talk about because it does launch today in the US. Before, I believe it was exclusive to Harrods, and it is from my favorite perfume house, Ormond Jane. I had a decant of this when it was exclusive to Harrods, so I already knew that I loved it, and then they asked if they could send it to me. Never gonna turn down an Ormond Jane. In fact, if you watch my live with Abby, I ended up buying Sybarite. I just could not stop thinking about it. And this is called Vanilla Mistral. This packaging. I do not have an Ormond Jane fragrance and I have a lot. It's actually the house that I have the most full-size fragrances from, and I don't have one that is this matte bottle. They are all glass bottles. They may come in different colors, but oh my word, the matte is so gorgeous. So it's Mistral because it is based on a Mistral wind from the mind's deepest corners, carrying stories too sultry for daylight. Vanilla reimagined as a breeze, gentle, powerful, and entirely yours. So this has pistachio, cardamom, black pepper, pomegranate, Irish cashmeran fig, sandalwood, vetiver, ambergris, and vanilla. As of right now, it is exclusive to Neiman Marcus in the US. Y'all, this is not a sweet vanilla. Not a sweet vanilla. I don't think gourmand when I smell this. I don't think cake. I get the cardamom, which is one of my very favorite notes. It doesn't have that much of the Ormond Jane DNA as to where it smells like green, because that's very consistent throughout a lot of the scents from that house. I can also get a little bit of the fig. There's something in it that's making it, it's trying to stand out. It's making it bright. Maybe that's the pomegranate. Yeah, I think that's what I'm smelling. Oh my word, y'all. If you love vanilla, but you don't want to smell like a dessert, please get your nose on this. I recommend getting your nose on every single Ormond Jane fragrance there is or ever has been. And this one is a great addition to the line. Oh my goodness. And I love the bottle. Love the bottle. That's it. That is a roundup of whether or not I still love all of the products that I was loving this time last year. And the answer is yes. I don't have a single thing that I saw when I was researching this that I still don't use and love. I will have everything listed and linked down below. Thank y'all so much for watching. I will see you in my next video, and I hope you all go out and have a very blessed day.